Grace. Jai Gobind will be live shortly. Book a tarot or astrology reading on our website, channelforgrace.guru, and check out our latest programs and classes. Please give us a share and a like, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast. Welcome to the Channel for Grace. Jai Gobind will be live shortly. Book a tarot or astrology reading on our website, channelforgrace.guru, and check out our latest programs and classes. Please give us a share and a like, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast. Welcome to the Channel for Grace. Jai Gobind will be live shortly. Book a tarot or astrology reading on our website, channelforgrace.guru, and check out our latest programs and classes. Please give us a share and a like, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast. Satnam, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jai Gobind, and this is your Channel for Grace. Thank you guys so much for being here live, and thank you to those of you that are watching the replay. And welcome to our broadcast, where I am going to be sharing my experience that I just had in friggin' Egypt with Robert Edward Grant and Matias Stefano and an amazing group of 144 souls that went together on this wild adventure. And let me tell you, it was a freaking wild adventure, like, to say the least. So I actually created like a whole slideshow that I'm going to be showing you guys. So I'm super excited about that. And I'll be recounting my experience and kind of sharing stories and going through kind of the timeline of the events and the way that I experienced everything and downloads that I got. And it's going to be super fun. Before we dive in, I do want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. I want to invite you to join our global community, which is our own private sacred space for us to share and connect with each other. And the links to all of that is below. In this community, it's basically like a private Facebook group, but it's so much more than that. And it's also where I host all of my courses, which, speaking of courses, the Moon Goddess training is going to begin on the new moon in Pisces, which is happening February 27th, which is next Thursday. And this new moon is actually a really powerful and amazing new moon. Hey, there's 22 in the chat. I love that, because it is the new moon that is ushering us into eclipse season. So 2 weeks later, we will see a full moon total lunar eclipse in Virgo. It's going to be with the South Node, so it's going to be a little intense. However, eclipse season is a time of revolution and change. And we also have just entered into the season of Pisces. And this is the last season of the zodiac wheel. And in our Starseed membership, which is also hosted in our Channel for Grace network on Mighty Networks, we just did our workshop and we talked about how this season of Pisces is going to bring to us, in our own individual but also collective way, the culmination and the completion of the astrological year. We've been following the seasons starting with Aries and moving all the way to Pisces. And the end of the wheel brings in the deeper understanding and the deeper meaning, hey Patricia, of your journey. And this is the time, this is like the world card in the tarot, where the Fool finally gets to the end of the wheel or the end of the cycle and like becomes enlightened, merges with the all. So for me, this year has been freaking insane. And when I say this year, I mean from Aries to Pisces, because that's the year that I follow. So much has freaking unfolded and manifested in my life. And I am so freaking grateful for all of it. And I'm just in awe and surprise and amazement and so much gratitude for the experience. And I can't wait to share it with you guys. So the reason why I wanted to share about the Moon Goddess training, which is a full-on mystery school, that's like the most comprehensive program that I offer. And it's a 3-part series, takes all year to complete. In the beginning, we dive into learning the fundamentals of how the Akashic records work and what they are and how to communicate with them. And I have a very unique perspective of how to do that, but also learning Hermetic alchemy, astrology, gene keys, human design, like your own unique self-knowing and unique self is so important to understanding, and like chakras and there's so much. Like we go through the temples in the Akashic records, and I've been teaching this course this is the 4th year now. So I've been teaching about these temples, going into the Akashic records, taking astral travel journeys to the temples and learning all this amazing Hermetic alchemy, and like it's a mystery school. And this year I finally got to go to Egypt, and I've seen so many pictures and images and all that stuff, but it's like nothing compares, to being there in person. That's why this broadcast is so special. And this year of the Moon Goddess training is so special because I have received, I've literally bathed in it now. And of course, it's not the first time I've been to the temples, meaning in past lives and things like that, and in the Akashic and astral traveling to the temples, but it was the first time that my physical body made a presence, and that makes a big difference. And I feel so activated in general because of the experience. I feel like I soaked up the energy, and I know that I received information that I will be sharing in the Moon Goddess training in a way that I have never been able to before, because I hadn't yet made that physical. It wasn't the time, but now it was the time. And so this is all part of that experience for me. It's just crazy. So if you feel called to join me in this Moon Goddess training, where you're going to literally become like fully empowered within your design, like fully step into your purpose. And I mean in every single way possible, understanding all aspects of you, understanding the wisdom and the knowledge, and then fully being able to share your own unique gifts with the world by being able to read the Akashic records. And like I said, I have a very unique method of teaching, listening to, and channeling and receiving and interpreting information from the Akashic records. And you have to have the foundational knowledge of the mystery schools of ancient Atlantis. And we're about to freaking jump into that journey next week. So please go check out the information. I have like a whole web page. The link is below, but please go check it out. And if you feel called, especially after seeing these images and these videos and these pictures that you're about to see, you might be like, bzz, like feel the buzz. And it would be an honor to have you in this class. Let me say hi to everybody that is here in the chat, because I know I see you guys there. Hello, Jeanette. Welcome in. Jeanette is actually going to be helping out in the Moon Goddess training herself. She's going to be holding space for everyone. She's like such a beautiful soul. She's like mama and such a beautiful nurturing energy. And she's held such beautiful space. She's been part of this community for years. And I invited her on to help hold that sacred space for us. So super excited about that. And also Ashley. She's going to be playing a big role. Ashley is a projector just like me, and she is learning and fully stepping into her purpose after graduating from the Moon Goddess training in 2023. And so she's going to be doing readings with you guys, one-on-ones, her by herself and then with me together. And we're going to continue this sort of tag teaming, working in a way that we actually haven't had in the Moon Goddess training before, because I'm always so busy with the teaching of it and myself holding space that personal time is not something that happens. Although I will say that the magic is in the community in space, but we're going to be working with each one of you guys individually, and that's new. And I'm so excited. And that's what Ashley's going to be helping with. So awesome. And then, hello. And I see a few goddesses that have actually joined. So welcome. Bernadine, how are you doing? Belinda, you're in Flagstaff? Nice. Good to see you. Diane, so excited. She's going to be joining us. Mishan, welcome in. Thank you for being here. And Dawn, who literally just went with me to Egypt and we had a freaking blast. Welcome into the broadcast. Melissa, how are you? Welcome in. Good to see you. Lisa, hello. So awesome. If you want to say hi in the chat, I love the live chat interaction. It's like what makes this experience worth it of broadcasting on YouTube. Hello, Amy. Welcome in. Patricia, so good to see you. I miss you too. She was also there with us in Egypt. You have a great picture of me from Karnak. Oh, okay. Yeah, send it to me. And Dawn, my husband, hello, welcome in. Yeah, thank you, Robert. Right? Dude. Dream come true, literally. And that is where I do want to start the journey, is that I am so grateful and thankful to Robert, because the story really begins where basically about a year ago now, I did an entire video, a broadcast with a friend of mine about Robert Grant's astrology, human design, and gene keys. And I did it for fun because it's just what I love to do. But apparently the video, hello Liz, welcome in. The video found him somehow through the virtual world. It was meant to be, obviously. And when he discovered it, he watched it and it like blew his mind, which blows my mind because I'm just a little fish over here, you know? So he was so amazed by the video. He said he watched it like 30 times. And I was like, what? But I didn't know this for like 8 months. It was just like dormant. I knew that he had seen it because he actually had shared it in his community and on like Instagram and stuff. Like he actually shared it. And so I was like, that's so cool. He watched it and he loved it. And he actually said this blew my mind. And but didn't hear anything after that. Anyways, 8 months later, which was like, a couple months ago, it was right after we had a full moon. I can't remember I think it was a full moon in Taurus. It was the full moon in Taurus that was making a conjunction or a stellium with Uranus. And Uranus is the planet of like transmutation and change and like transcendence and the surprises, right? And it's unpredictable things that come. And so basically the next day after this full moon in Taurus with Uranus, I get a follow. It says on Instagram, Robert Grant followed you on Instagram. And I'm like, okay, that's crazy. That's kind of cool. Like, okay. I mean, I love his work. That's the reason why I did a show on him, because I was like, it blew my mind to watch him talk about, the codex and unraveling and decoding the Da Vinci works and how they're connected to the Great Pyramid. And like, I was studying these temples for such a long time that I was like so drawn to him and his work. And so then I noticed that he actually sent me a message, and the message was, I would love basically to have you on my podcast, and I'd also like a reading. I was like, what? So basically he asked me why he wanted to have a reading, or he told me why he wanted to have a reading, to cover some of the things that me and my friend hadn't covered in the actual broadcast. And it had to do more with like the Venus sequence of the gene keys and more of the relationship aspect of his chart. So I was like, dude, this is crazy. So I ended up doing his reading, and I remember exactly the date. It was December 18th when we did the reading, and I freaking prepared like crazy for it. I had like a whole PDF. I was like, I was not about to miss any details on this one. I wanted to really like show up for that. It felt like such an honor to me to be able to do that. And then he loved that, and we really dove into some things that were really helpful for him. In the realm of relationships is like the place where we learn the most. It's the place where we get triggered. It's the place where we have these soul contracts, and the more that we work to through the triggers in relationship, the more that we grow and evolve. So it was really, really a beautiful thing for me to be able to guide and provide information that can be of help to people. So that reading was amazing. And then I remember for the next 2 days after that, we were like messaging each other. I mean, it was like a whirlwind of craziness. And I hadn't experienced like Robert Grant, like in a personal way. So it was like, what is happening? And so we're like, there's synchronicities showing up and things coming in anyways. Like 3 days later, on December 20th, which is literally the solstice, the winter solstice, was when we recorded the podcast. And then I was like, I have no idea when that podcast was going to go out. And I just like fully, it was just all magic for me. So I asked him, once we were done with the podcast, and honestly, at this point, I'm like, I don't even remember what we talked about. I know we laughed a lot. I know he showed me some really awesome things. And I know that the podcast is going to be coming out soon, which is so synchronistic, right? Perfect timing. And it waited for the perfect timing to go out. So anyways, we record this podcast. And then a few days later, actually the next day, I think we left with my husband to go to LA, which is where my family lives. And we were going to do the whole holiday thing. And so I send him a message on WhatsApp, and I'm like, hey, I'd love to interview you for my podcast and ask you, basically what I said to him was like, I want you to talk about like basically being like a real life Indiana Jones and going through and having these epic experiences, kind of like, Matias. And a lot of people are so tuning in right now to these energies of the temples and things like that. And they really are real life Indiana Jones. And so that's what I said to him. And his response, then this is where it all freaking exploded. Today I was doing a reading, and she said, it's like an atomic bomb that is going off right now in your life. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what this feels like. So basically, he responds by creating a group chat with me, him, and Eden, his assistant. And he's basically telling Eden, I would like to invite Jai as faculty to the Egypt trip. And I was like, what? So I freaked out in a good way. I think I sobbed. I started crying like instantly because it was a miracle. And I had like a month before, I had said to myself, if I ever go to Egypt, it's going to be with Robert and Matias. And I knew that there was this February Egypt trip planned and scheduled, and I knew that it was sold out. But I didn't know I was going to actually be a part of it. And even more, like as a faculty, I'm like, what? So blew my mind. And then everything it literally felt like a quantum leap, an explosion, like excitement. Then I was in LA with my mom, and she's like, she's buying me all these outfits. Like, you're gonna need this and you're gonna need that. She even paid for my ticket, my flight to get over there. And yeah, it just blew my mind. And all of a sudden my life completely changed in a really beautiful, epic quantum way. And so now I was getting ready to go to Egypt for the first time in my life, something that I had dreamed about for like years, like my whole life. And I was afraid to travel. And I have trauma. I have travel trauma because when I was born in Argentina, and when I moved to the United States, it was like the most traumatic uprooting of my life. And it felt like we were ripped off of a specific timeline and landed in a different timeline, and didn't know the language, had to, hey Maricela, had to learn everything new. I mean, it was terrible. And the trauma of it was also connected to the two families, because my dad's and my mom's family hated each other. And the day, especially my two grandmothers, which is crazy, right? The day that we left, my maternal grandmother and my paternal grandmother got into a fight at the airport after our plane took off. I didn't find that out until years later, but that was insane. Okay. That happened. So, and I'm such a sensitive being that I was feeling all of it. And it was scary AF, okay, to land. Like, I literally remember the day that we landed and hearing my mom, because in the United States, which we didn't know, everyone says, okay, 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 okay. It's like a thing. That's not a thing in Argentina. Okay. And this is the specific thing that I remember thinking in my mind in Spanish. Why did she say okay? What's okay? Like, I didn't even know what it meant. I was like 8 years old. That's my memory. And then little by little, of course, because we're young and we're kids, we learned really quickly. But it was freaking traumatic. And since then, every time I have to travel internationally, I get major anxiety. And that's the reason why I haven't taken these like long trips to places. But the minute that I was invited, and I'm a projector, okay, and I'm supposed to wait for the invitation, and I sat and sat and sat dreaming of one day where an invitation like this would come. And it freaking came. And that's how I knew it was meant to be, because that's in alignment with my strategy in human design, to wait for the invitation, to wait to be recognized. I worked for freaking years studying astrology, human design, gene keys, knowing that it was what I loved to do. But it wasn't until that, it wasn't until the time was right that the invitation came. And because it was in alignment, it was like magic from the beginning. I felt so safe. I was never scared of this experience. I wasn't scared of traveling. I knew we would be safe. I knew there was going to be security. I knew, like, this was the ultimate miracle in my life. And I talked about it because I also did a presentation in the trip. And the presentation, I talked about how I have this gene key, the 35th gene key is my life's work. And it literally, the descriptive phrase for the gene key is wormholes and miracles. So, like, you can't make this shit up, okay? I just got done doing a reading today, and the client was like, "You're blowing my mind." And I was like, "It's the information. It's like your design. It's like it blows your mind because it confirms everything that you already know about yourself, and then it activates the magic." And I didn't really realize I knew how powerful it was for me. I didn't realize how powerful it was when I do the readings for people. But Robert obviously had that experience, and as a 2/4, he single-handedly grabbed that 2 and pulled it out of its cave, because it was time to come out of the cave. And as a 2 line profile, I have this hermit tendency. And I like my cave. I love my cave. I could live here forever. But it was time to be called out for the gifts and the talents, because it's time to share them in a bigger way. And that's literally the experience that I've been having this entire time. It's like, it's time. You have arrived. And as a matter of fact, this all coincides with my progressions, because in 2010, when I had moved to Boulder, Colorado, where I had like my whole like spiritual dark night of the soul activation, it started in 2010 with my new moon, my progressed new moon in Cancer. And it's all about building a home, learning to love and nurture yourself. But it's also the moon, and the moon rules Cancer. And this energy is the sacred divine feminine, and it is literally the high priestess, and it is the moon goddess. Hence why it makes so much perfect sense that like the training that I teach, it's called the moon goddess training, and it's all intuitively, all the names and the titles are intuitively channeled. So that started in 2010. Well, in 2024 was my progressed full moon in Capricorn, which is all about stepping into your purpose and your mission. And this is the Saturn ruled energy. It's you work fucking hard and you do the work and it pays off, and you have a goal. And when you get to the mountaintop, like you don't give up. And that was the energy that I was experiencing, is the reward for freaking having worked so hard and like intuitively felt the mission, and then let myself be guided into the magic of that and stepping fully into my design. And now was the time to be recognized. And when you get to your progressed full moon, it is this sort of like activation of the culmination of the last 14 years of your life. And it is the top of the mountain. It is the climax. And from that point on, you're going to harvest. You're going to harvest. And if you did the work, there's going to be a plenty to harvest. And that's the experience that I'm having from that moment on. Now my progressed moon is waning gibbous, but this is the time that I just get to literally receive the gifts of the hard work. So it's insane how in alignment all of this is for me in my life. Dreams coming true, miracles showing up. It's amazing. And I have to say, thank you to Robert, because, and he's going to be like, for what? That's what the first thing I said to him, when I finally saw him in person to do his reading, I was like, first of all, I just want to say thank you. And he was like, for what? I was like, damn, dude. Hardcore. I was like, I don't know, for noticing me. He had no idea like how recognized I felt by his invitation. And so, but that's why I felt such a playful energy and such like a kind of down to earth energy from him, and so real, because it was like, whatever, like it was meant to be, like it's all in the magic. And I was like, yeah, you're right. But anyways, it's been an incredible freaking activation for me. And he's played this freaking role. He played this role. And then I realized, okay, I need to go into the Akashic records and ask, what is the soul contract that I have with him, and he has with me, right? Like, what is that soul contract? And I'll tell you the story now, because it is actually plays a role in this whole experience. We'll get to the slides in a moment. Hello, Mama. Oh, welcome in, everyone. I hope I'm entertaining you. All right. So I did this like free mini moon goddess training to show what the moon goddess training was about before I went to Egypt. And the third time we met, we did a soul contract Akashic records journey. And I asked, what is my soul contract with Robert Grant? And the first thing that I felt intuitively called to do, and everything is symbolism, right? Everything is symbols and archetypes. was the sign of the cross. Okay. Now, I grew up Catholic. I was raised Catholic, so I'm very familiar with like, and every once in a while I do it. I don't know. I feel it, but I'm not like religious at all. I'm spiritual, definitely connected, definitely like open-minded to whatever floats your boat. You are your unique self. So that's what I did. The sign of the cross. Okay. And hey, Rebecca. And then I knew, I was like, oh shit, here we go. What the fuck was that? So then the journey takes us into the stars. It's like a guided journey. Takes us into the stars. And of course, I always go to Orion. Orion has been like this crazy connection. So many of us have the connection. I'm a Gemini sun, Gemini rising, North Node Gemini, Venus in Gemini, Chiron in Gemini, and it's all in my 12th house, and it's all on Orion. Okay. So I am a massive Orion starseed. By the way, if you want to know what your starseed markings are, you can book a starseed reading with me. I record them and then I send them, but they're freaking magical too, by the way. I don't think people know I do that. Anyways, I'm like multifaceted, multi-talented in this realm. So we get, we get the sign of the cross. We're traveling through the stars. I see the center star of Orion, and everything else about the stars is spinning. So I see the center point of the middle star on Orion's belt and the whole universe spinning. And so it becomes like a wormhole that I'm like moving through, of course, wormholes and miracles. And I get, and then this is the crazy part. Then the constellation that is spinning becomes a swastika. And for those of you that don't know, I'm going to inform you right now. The swastika was an ancient symbol before it got taken and used for you know what. Okay? So there's meaning behind all of these symbols and archetypes, right? I mean, we go way back. Anyways, all of them messages. Pass through the portal, see a blue planet, like almost like a Neptune looking planet, which is interesting because all this Pisces energy right now. But I see the blue planet, but it feels like an air energy because, and I did the QHHT training with Dolores Cannon, like past life regression. And in it, when you go into the lifetime, when you go to the past life regression, you first float in the clouds, and then you come down from the clouds onto wherever it is you're going to land. And I flew through the clouds like a freaking rocket, like, and I land. And of course, I'm standing right in front of the Great Pyramid. In front of me is Robert and a group of people, a lot of people. And they're all standing behind this red ribbon with a little red bow, almost like at an inauguration, when they have to cut the ribbon to inaugurate it, to like activate it. Okay. And everyone's clapping. Okay. I'm walking up to the group and they're like on the other side. And do you guys know in the movie The Titanic where Rose dies at the end of the movie? I watched that movie way too many times. And her spirit goes down, down, down into the ocean, right to where the ship is. And it becomes alive. And everyone's waiting for her. And she like goes up the steps to see Jack. Okay. Well, I felt like Rose being welcomed back after a really long time of being gone. And Rose is a key name. I shared this with Robert, and he was like, Rose, and blah, 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 like all the little, the links. Well, I get up to the ribbon, I cut the ribbon, and then it's like everyone's like hugging each other. It's like a reunion. And we're like hugging each other and all this stuff. And we're like, oh my God, it's been so long, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? And then the focus turns onto what is the contract in the guided journey. And I hear, the pyramid is the contract. So I turn my attention in the journey to the pyramid, and the edges of the pyramid, like the lines of the pyramid, the 4 lines, are like, it's almost like they have lights. And those things, I love that. I love it too, Patricia. Okay. And the pyramid is like flickering. The lights of the pyramid are like flickering. It's like dying. Okay. The power is dying in the pyramid. That's the sense that I get, because the lights are flickering. It's losing its power. It's losing its like strength. And that reminds me of, by the way, I love the movie The Fifth Element. Okay. Like a multipass, obsessed with that movie. I even have, oh God, this show is going to go on for hours. Okay. I even have, what the fuck? For my altar, the 4 elements that are a part of the movie. I don't know if you remember the movie. In the end, they have to turn it on, right? They have to activate it, and they're literally in like ancient Egypt. And it's like, I have a song that's called Wind Blows, but in the end she's like, wind blows, fire burns, and they're like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, air for air, fire for fire, water for water, earth for earth, and they turn them on, right? This is getting crazy, all right? I'm glad I had these right here. And so literally I'm like, that's why I'm like real life Indiana Jones journey. I am down. Let's go. So the pyramid is flickering in my vision and I can feel it's dying. There's also another movie. Oh, The Last Mimsy. Did you guys watch The Last Mimsy? Okay, if you haven't, you have to. But in that movie, The Last Mimsy. What about The Last Mimsy? It's she's dying. The doll is dying, and they need to send her back because she's losing her power. So it's like the same theme going on in my vision. The pyramid's like flickering, and I hear the pyramid is the contract. You will know, like you will see it when you get there, and then you will be the lighthouse. And then Ashley had a journey before that where she saw herself as a little figurine that was plugged into the pyramid, and the pyramid turned on. But I remember in the dream that the pyramid all of a sudden solidly lit up. And like in Las Vegas, the Luxor, the light shines up from the pyramid. So a light shoots up from the pyramid straight up to Orion. And it's like it was activated. It became activated. Okay. And then the journey ended. We haven't even gotten to the experience. Okay. I had that was my answer to what is the soul contract. The contract is the pyramid, and you will know when you get there. You will see, you will understand when you get there, and you will be the lighthouse. Okay. So now we're going to go to the trip, and I'm going to recount my experience of how it was for me. And I'm going to try to remember all the stories and all the things that I experienced in each of the places in the temples, and how it all freaking unfolded magically, and what I feel really happened, because it's no coincidence, right? 144 Alpha Omega Expedition. Like, well, give me a fucking break, like no matter what your experience is, above the umbrella that held that experience was like a tall order, but it was also by design meant to be. The entire thing, it was interwoven in all these crazy things that happened, and emotions. And I feel like we all went through the whole freaking spectrum of emotions through the entire experience. So when I go to the slides, you're only going to be able to hear me, but I wanted to make them full screen because I want you to actually really get a chance to look at the pictures. So, and I'll switch back and forth between this screen and the other. All right, here we go. Boom shakalaka. So, my experience, let's talk about it. So, and I'll just kind of share what you're seeing in the images. So the first picture here is me getting dropped off at the airport and being so excited, like got to bring my guitar and all this stuff. And that was a huge part of it, because the funny thing about the whole experience is that Robert invited me to share Gene Keys. This is the way he put it. He said, I want you to do a presentation on Gene Keys, human design, and astrology, and how you use all three of them to get the most accurate readings. And I was like, okay, I can do that. But what I really want to do is share my voice. I want to sing. I want to chant. I want to like hold sacred space, because there's magic in that space for me. And that's what I really wanted to do. I was like, I think I'm supposed to go sing. I think I'm supposed to sing. And so I came prepared. I took my guitar and I took my drum, and I was like, it's going to happen. And again, I brought everything. I was ready, but my job is to always wait for the invitation. Always, always, always. If you go by your design, it's going to blow your freaking mind how in alignment everything just falls into place, like the next step, the next like piece of ground, the next brick that you're going to put your foot on. You just fully trust. So we get to Egypt. It's a long ass plane ride, like 14 and a half hours to get to Doha, and then a 3-hour flight to freaking get to Cairo. I mean, it was exhausting. But we get to the first hotel, and the craziest thing, at that hotel, there's this building that looks like a giant black diamond. Okay? Like, what? I don't know. But I knew that it had meaning. And I remember talking to Robert, and this is one of the things that we talked about in the podcast that's going to be coming out next week or so, I'm told, was because one of his gene keys is the diamond of the self. It's the 8th gene key, and it's about finding the diamond of the self. And he mentioned to me that in the process of my reading and everything that I had done on YouTube, that I actually helped him to figure out find the connection between the diamond on the wall of the king's chamber, and that's behind the wall. That's a garnet behind the wall of the king's chamber. And so, like, how crazy that the first thing that we see is this fucking giant black diamond. And when he saw it too, and he mentioned it, I was like, I know, dude, I know. So just magic. So that was really cool. And that hotel, I mean, oh my God, everything blew my mind. I was in this space of like childhood wonder and excitement. And I started to notice, this is one of the things that started it was right away. Big messages, but the messages were all magnified. And for example, like, oh yeah, the diamond behind the wall of the pyramid, and then here's this ginormous fucking black diamond, like so obvious it wasn't even funny. And this is Justina, by the way. We met her there that first day, and we bonded, me and her and Dawn. We have this special bond now. That was amazing. Okay, so I start seeing all these things like lions and, all these synchronicities showing up, and I'm paying attention because I know to pay attention to the subtle messages that come through everything. So we have this orientation. And the craziest thing about it is that up until that point, I didn't think that Matias was going to be coming. Originally, he was supposed to be actually a part of the entire experience. But then for whatever reason, I mean, I know the reason, but I'm not allowed to share it. But anyways, he wasn't able to really fully be a part of the experience. And so I literally was like, I just had surrendered to like, if he comes, that's great. And if not, whatever, no big deal. And I'm in this group chat on WhatsApp with the faculty, and Eden goes, oh yes, we have a faculty meeting at 3 p.m. today. And then Matias responds in the chat. Okay. But I had no idea. I literally was like, oh, he's not going to come. He responds, okay, great. I'll see you guys then. And I'm like, are you fucking shitting me right now? What the fuck? And I remember I showed Dawn. I was like, Dawn, look. I kept showing her the chat because it was just too crazy not to. And I'm like, he's here. He's fucking here. Okay, and then it was like, again, mind blown after mind blown. I have been literally wanting to meet this man for years, okay? He has taught me so much. Everything that I basically teach in the Moon Goddess training has been inspired by what I have learned from him. And I felt it when he was teaching me. I felt it deep in my soul, like deep in the window of my soul, that it was true. And I haven't felt like a deep connection to a soul like that in a long time, maybe ever. I think he's the one that really opened up this whole remembrance for me of like ancient Atlantis. And I mean, oh my God. So he was like the highlight of the trip for me, getting to meet Matias, like everything in the way that it happened, getting to like stand next to him where I hadn't even really met him. Robert had like, I had done a show on him too. I did a show on him and I love him. He's like, everybody loves him, you know. Maybe not everybody, but the people that love him, you know what I'm talking about. So anyways, Robert had been wanting him to watch his show for such a long time, and he finally watched it. But it was just incredible. And so that's when the magic really started to happen. The next day, we go on our first adventure. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. The Serapeum is our first stop. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I better, you better buckle up, because no freaking joke, this is literally going to like blow your fucking socks off. The Serapeum is an underground kind of like tunnels that actually have these built-in sort of rooms with these giant stone boxes, and nobody knows what they were used for, but we know what they were used for. They were these powerful ancient like Stargate tools, and it was the place where the ancient students would like learn to do these elaborate like rituals and like, travel through dimensions. I mean, this is like the magic of Egypt that is not taught in the regular, places. So I have been dreaming of going and seeing the Serapeum. So we're walking through the desert and you like don't even know that you're going to be getting there. And all of a sudden there's like this freaking staircase, okay? And it's like, oh, here we go. Down into the Serapeum. And I recorded a lot of videos because I literally wanted to be able to remember and be there again, like over and over and over. So here's us walking down into the Serapeum, my mind blown, can't even realize that I'm going to be going into and seeing the giant stone boxes. Okay, they're built from like one solid piece of like granite. It's impossible. There's like, no one understands how they got him in there. No one knows, like, there's so many unknowns. And this is what they look like. And you can see how huge they are, because in that third picture, I'm standing there, like literally under the top of it. It's taller. The box reaches like to my head. And I fit under the top. It's like you cannot imagine the magnitude. You cannot imagine. And I kept thinking, like, the whole time that I was there, I'm like, this place feels like a city for giants. Like everything is built for giants. It was insane. Insane. So we continue going through the experience. On this left photo, there's been some carvings on the things, but those were not there originally. Those were added later. These boxes didn't have anything on them. And this is the theme When you look into the ancient sites, really there is no hieroglyphics other than like the flower of life images. Because back then, and especially you're going to see it in the Osirion Temple, back then they didn't use hieroglyphics because all the communication happened through water. This is us walking around one of the boxes that's like in the hallway. Like they tried to move it, but they got stuck. So it's like, screw it. We're not going to happen. So they just left it there. But these, I just lost my train of thought because I was watching the video. Okay. The information is in the water. And that's why the Osirion Temple basically is the water. Like the ancient temples had water, and the water held the information. It's just insane. So when I was in the Serapeum, it was a heavy energy. And every single temple that I experienced felt different. Each one had a completely different energy. And it was so special because of that. And that, you know, your cellular memory like absorbs it. You know, like you're like, and I felt the absorption of the information of this ancient site. It was phenomenal. Okay, so then we come out of the Serapeum and we start walking towards the step pyramid. Now, the step pyramid is literally the quantum machinery. It is the Metatron's cube. The Metatron's cube lives inside the pyramid. This is like where in the journey of the ancient, the mystery schools of the temples along the Nile, when you get to Dashur and Sakara, this is where you are activating the third eye, and you are connecting to basically the quantum activation of like how it all works. Like Metatron's cube is literally the universe in sacred geometric form. And actually, Robert is talking a lot about that in the new Codex show, season 2, Metatron Revealed, right? So this is the quantum machinery. And I'm like, I cannot believe I'm standing here. Look at that cute little camel. He's so cute. This is us walking into the pyramid complex, which was originally, it was built by Imhotep, was the architect. But it was also like a funeral complex. And it was meant to be this like fake city that seemed like a real city, but it was like a fake city. And everywhere you look, you can see like doorways and like it's like pretend things. And it was because this was the afterlife, right? But inside that, like everything is meant to like show you real life. Like if it was like a miniature, I mean, it's not miniature, you know what I mean? But it was like a, I'm not coming up with the word, but it was like a make-believe real life entire like city. And we got to go see it. So this is me in front of the step pyramid, and then this is us walking down into the step pyramid. And I know that you can go underneath in the tunnels and go to where the cube is, but we went to the upper level where you walk in and then you can see it from up above. So here it is, coming into the entrance. Tickets, give me your tickets. And now this is once you go in, and I walked literally straight to the cube because I knew where I was. I knew where I was going. The funny thing is, like, I knew everywhere these temples. I've studied them. I just never been there in person. I was like, okay, I'm going to go straight to it. And that's why I had such a hard time hanging out with the tour guides, because I was like, I just want to go explore. Like, I just want to feel the energy. I couldn't stay with the group, with the big group. I told my husband, he laughed his head off. I was like, I can't be like a sardine. I can't like follow like the tour guide like a school of fish. It's just not my thing. There's the cube. Hmm. Yep. No words. No words. It's like when you see it, you can feel it. It's incredible. Oh man, I wish we had gone down there. I wanted to go down. It's like all these things. I just want to go up to, I just want to hug it. Like I just have this experience. Like, I just want to hug it. Here's some another picture. I love this picture. The little cobras. They're just so cute. And then that night, that evening, we had our workshop with Matias. And that was when I really feel the activation. I mean, the activation was happening the entire time, but this one kind of brought us into a really beautiful alignment. And this one has sound. So I'm going to play it and hopefully it plays the sound. This is just a little snippet of what it was like to be there. Oh, wait, hang on. It's not playing the sound. No. Give me 1 second. I was playing it earlier. Let's see. But you can see, I guess I'll just talk as I'm trying to figure this out. Hey, Maria, welcome in. You can see like the group sat around in a circle and it was like phenomenal connecting. I wonder why it's not playing. Yeah, let me, maybe if I reset it. I want you guys to hear this, so sorry for the pause. Let's see. I'm going to try something. See if it works. Yeah. It was kind of like that. So that was, and I have longer videos of it, but that was where I really felt it, like the intention was grounded into the space. And it didn't slow down. Like every day it was like charged up and charged up and charged up. And it was like on steroids. It really was crazy. So the next day we set off to Luxor. We take a flight to Luxor, and this was the day where it was really kind of crazy for me. We had to get up like super early, like 3 a.m. And I mean, I'm a projector. I need freaking sleep and rest. So the one thing that helped was all the generators around me to like help carry the energy. But it was really a challenging thing to get up so early and to keep that like crazy schedule going. I know everybody was like freaking exhausted. So I remember this day because this day was the day where I was supposed to do my presentation, and it was the day where we were going to go see the Hathor Temple. And I was like, oh my God. And that carried me through the entire day because it was crazy and involved, and like so much was going on that day that it felt like we like got and arrived to the boat. Yeah. And we were so like frazzled. Like this was like a theme. Okay. That like continued. We're just like ungrounded and frazzled. Like, like we just like landed. And this is what, when we arrived, when the buses took us to the cruise ship, this is what we encountered. It's like, whoa, what is happening right now? Hello. And then here's a little view of the Nile. And then once we were on the freaking Nile, dude, I was like, I could not believe my eyes. I couldn't believe my heart that we were on the fucking Nile. And it was huge. I'd never seen it before. I didn't know how big it was. I'm like, this giant body of water. It's crazy to have the desert, but then this like huge river. Check it out. So that's the point where we started to sail towards the Hathor Temple. I know, that was a really grounding moment with Matias, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. After Sakara visit. And we were like sailing, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. So then we were supposed to arrive, and we were supposed to do my presentation and then go to the Hathor Temple. But what ended up happening is, which is the theme again for the whole trip, but I was warned about this, like, be flexible because things are going to move around a lot. It's like you just can't predict the kind of things that, you know, that create delays and things like that. And so I was like, fully whatever. I was like totally flexible for whatever. I did not care at all. I was just so happy and grateful to be there. And so we're getting set up for my presentation. And then I was being told that it was probably going to get delayed, that we probably weren't going to have time for it, but to prepare for it anyways. And I was like, okay. So we're like getting ready for it. And that day I had so many people come to me and ask me and tell me that they were so excited for my presentation. And so I knew that a lot of people were like waiting for it to happen. And when they had told me like, we're not going to have enough time to do it before we have to go to Hathor, I was like, well, do we have any little bit of time? I was like, do we have like 30 minutes? They're like, yeah, we have like 30 minutes. And I was like, well, why don't we do this? And I kind of offered a suggestion. I said, what if I did like a little tuning in and like played my guitar, and maybe we could chant a song. And then when I was saying that, I was like, Adi Shakti came through. And Adi Shakti is the mantra of the sacred mother. It's like the Kundalini, the activation of the mother. And Hathor is the cow goddess, the Milky Way, the cosmic mother. The temple of Hathor is where all of the astrology is. It's like when we're on the moon goddess training and we get to the temple of Hathor, we get to the heart chakra and we learn all about our unique connection to the stars. And even in the temple, you see the beautiful representation of, it's the very first ever known representation of the sky and the constellations in the sky. It's like a map of the constellations. And the original one isn't there. The original one is in the Louvre. Of course it is. But they have this replacement one there, but it shows all the constellations. You can see like Draco, Scorpio, like it's crazy, right? So this temple is all about learning the astrology, and it's the house of Horus, or the house of the sun, right? And she's the Milky Way. She's the milk goddess, right? The cow goddess. And so it's the galaxy and our solar system, and it's all about the astrology. So I knew this coming in, and I was like, oh my God, I can't fucking wait to get like this one. Really, this was the one for me. And I think it was for a lot of people too. But I was like, let's tune in. I was like, let's connect. Let's just ground ourselves. And, align with the energy. And for me, intuitively, that's what I felt. I felt that the Adi Shakti mantra wanted to come through. So that's what I did. And you can see the video that I'll show in a second. It's just, the video is like a piece, and then the phone gets put down because Dawn had to hold the microphone for me. But you can hear us chanting. And I'll invite you to listen to the chanting.
An index finger touch. This is the mudra of wisdom and knowledge. And the palms can rest on your lap, facing up.
so you can kind of get the picture. But it was amazing to be able to chant this with everybody there, and it was like the first time where I got to share a little bit of that other magic, and my heart was so happy, you guys. My heart was so happy. I was like, oh my god. I think they did film this part and might have uploaded onto the virtual pass. I know everybody was singing along. It was amazing. It was like it was more of like that dream come true for me. So just freaking phenomenal. Oh my god, just listening to it again is just amazing. Amazing. So that amazingness happened, and then we went on the buses and we got to the temple of Hathor. And this is me walking up to the temple. I turned on my camera, and the minute I saw it, I literally started to sob.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
There's literally, I'm crying right now watching that video. Every time I watch it, I cry. There is literally like no words to describe what I felt walking. I felt like I was walking to her. Just insane. Insane. And this temple was really where I was like, dude. Could not believe what I was experiencing. Couldn't believe what I was seeing. Couldn't believe the energy that I was feeling. I felt so held. It was insane. Yeah. And it was like that the entire time. I cried the entire time I was there. One of the amazing things about the Temple of Hathor is that it's one of the most well-preserved in terms of the colors on the walls and everything, and the whole ceiling of the Hathor Temple is covered in blue. And you see there's a woman on the ceiling and quite a bit of the ceiling, and that's Goddess Nut. And she's known as the goddess of the sky. And she's usually depicted with her hands on the ground and then her body arching up and over and her feet touching the ground. And she's covered in stars because she is the sky. And you could see the magic and feel the magic of her in this temple. It was just phenomenal. The other thing that was amazing, oh, here it is. Here's the video of Newt and then some of the walls. The other thing that was amazing was that there was like, it felt like there were so many doors and portals inside these temples that you were like going and walking through dimensions, multi-dimensions, even just within the temples. Like a portal within a portal within a portal is what it felt like. And it was mind-blowing, the hieroglyphics on all the temples, but this one was really powerful. And all the way from the freaking bottom of the wall up to the top and on the ceiling, like you just could not get like, look at this picture in the middle. Somebody took this picture of me and gave it to me. You can really see the blue color of the ceiling, and you can see the columns, and you can see from fucking the top to the bottom covered in hieroglyphics. And on the right side were the stars, and I couldn't get over the stars and how many stars they were. There was like a whole wall or like a whole ceiling covered in stars. It blew my freaking mind. Oh yeah, here we go. Depiction of Nut, goddess Nut. She's like, her feet are on the right side, and then her legs go up, and then her body goes across, and then her hands on the bottom. That's a good depiction of her. Then the background is blue. And then on the right side, look how freaking cool, like the jet pillar. I mean, like this stuff is like, what is happening right now? Yeah. Like, this is multi-dimensional activation. So freaking crazy. Oh, and my favorite. This was my favorite. The Hathor paleta. Oh, shit. Hathor on a stick. Oh my God. But that little box on top of her head, this is actually crazy though, because usually it's like you see her and then on top of her is like a little box, and that's like the house of Horus. And usually you see the Horus is the falcon, and you see him inside the little box, but it's actually the cube. It's all about sacred geometry, and it's the activation of the sacred geometric shape of the cube, which obviously extends to like Metatron's cube. And I mean, Okay. This is the crypt. You had to go up this ladder thing to this hole close to the ceiling of the wall. And you would go in. And inside was like this secret room. Like her sacred room. It was insane. Yeah, that's me trying to crawl through with the phone, trying to film. Yeah, at the end of the wall, you see Hathor there. Oh my God. Everywhere in here in this temple was just out of this world. I know. The size is just... There's Jonathan. Or Johnson. There's Patricia. Remember Patricia? Oh my God. Remember Patricia? Yeah, you remember. You remember, right? You remember? We both put our heads against this wall for like, I don't even know, it felt like eternity. And she turned around and she was like, we just activated the fuck out of that. And then she left. It was amazing. Oh, that's the best. And then the magic. Okay, did you see that I was talking about how this temple was the astrology temple? Okay, we go out, and I was like in this zone the entire time. Didn't even know what time it was, how long we were going to be there. I was just fucking wandering around, like crying, barefoot, all kinds of stuff going on. And climbing into like, you know, the crypt and secret passages and staircases and all kinds of freaking epic stuff. There was like a loft. You could like go up to the top floor. And there was like amazing loft. And I was like, I like it up here. Well, then the sun was setting and then the moon came up. And when we went outside, we literally saw the moon and Venus. And I was like, you have got to be fucking kidding me right now. Venus, the evening star, the goddess herself, and the moon. And the moon was waxing at that point because the trip had started on the new moon in Aquarius and it ended on the full moon in Leo. So we literally experienced the 2 weeks between the new and the full moon during the trip. And it just, that's when I like... The magic that happened at this temple was beyond anything I could have ever imagined. Then when you looked to the other side, this is what you saw. You saw Orion surrounded by 3 major stars, 2 planets and a star, Sirius, Jupiter, and Mars. And that triangle is what Robert called the Philosopher's Stone, surrounding Orion. Okay. Yeah, I know. And then I took another picture where it looks like there's a bow. And the whole thing about the Robert is that he, you know, the 13th sign of Fucus is where Sagittarius is, but he's the snake bearer, but it's also the bow-like energy. And then on the other side, yeah, we did activate. Yeah, I know. And then on the other side is Orion, right? They're opposing each other. Because you can see Orion in the winter and you can see Ophiuchus and Scorpio constellation and those other constellations in the summer. They're opposing each other. And so what we saw was literally the astrology right there in front of our face. And these 2 pictures just were crazy. I wonder if I had a video of it. Oh, I think I did. Yes. Okay, check this out.
Pretty bright. That should be
And
serious.
it's like all around Orion.
It's gotta be serious.
That's gotta be serious. Yeah, that's serious.
Yeah. Mars is the red one over there. Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's epic. Wait a minute. That's whoa. That's a Philosopher's Stone triangle.
Get out. Yeah.
This is the Philosopher's Stone triangle, and it's right on top of Orion.
Thank you.
Like, yeah. Like, what? Yeah. It was just beyond. It was beyond, you guys. And then we came back and I think we had dinner first. I don't know. I don't even remember at this point. It was all a whirlwind. But then I finally got to do my presentation. And I mean, okay, so like I went through the whole experience. I got to share the chanting in the beginning and then sobbed off the entire time I was there. Oh, there was something that did happen that it was like this weird energy came at me right before we went to the Hathor Temple. Without being specific, I'm going to be vague about this, but there was something that came and kind of attacked me. And I remember being at the temple and there was one point where like I really had to release it. And I talked about this when I did my presentation, that I sat down against one of the columns and I just let it all out. And I felt that Hathor was literally holding me. I felt the entire temple felt like I was being held in the arms of the mother. And I felt my grandma. And now I am remembering that when my new moon in Cancer started, my progressed new moon in Cancer in 2010, I was invited to a peyote ceremony. And the morning after the ceremony, I felt my grandmother holding me for the first time. I felt like she was holding me and I felt like I had come home. Dude, I just got that hit right now. Full circle, Temple of Hathor. She freaking just took me in her arms. I swear to God. There is no other way to describe the magic that I felt in that temple. And after I had that entire intense fucking emotional experience, I had to give my presentation. I was like, we were on the bus coming back and Dawn was with me the entire time. She knows I was like crying the whole time. And she was just like giving me space because she didn't know what the fuck was going on. But I was like, okay. And then we're on the bus on the way back. And I had forgotten I still had to do my presentation. She's like, do you realize you still have to do a presentation? And I was like, I looked at her and I was like, God help us all. It was the best. But you know what? Those moments, like I really, like I thrive under pressure like that. I don't know what it is about me. I thrive under pressure. And I was charged the fuck up after that temple. So I was like, let's go. Let's do this. Yeah. It was out of this world. And then the journey continued. And the next day, we went to Abydos Temple and the Osirion Temple. And in the Temple of Ramses, I remember the energy of this temple just felt so freaking playful and fun. And Dawn and I had a freaking blast. The light, the shimmering light in this temple was just phenomenal. And one of the other faculties was there and he showed us. So there was like stargates. I mean, it's crazy. But there was these rooms that he was telling us how they were stargates. So I'll just let you listen to him.
This indicates Stargate. So here's your door, your gateway. And this is travel. This is a foot. And that's the star. And this is the exit on the other side. So this is the subject matter that you're going toward. And this is potentially the star system or planet you're traveling to. So, this one has an alpha, omega, well, it's got an omega anyway. And I don't know what this is, maybe the ship or something. And then you'll notice in each of these sentences, the first block is different. So maybe this one says you're going to somewhere that has a library or wisdom. And there's your cell phone to take with you. But if you look at the others, the first block, the first block is different. So this one is, so here's maybe the traveler, and he's got a chair here, right? Maybe. And maybe this is your window, or who knows? I don't know. I don't know what it says. I just know the last two.
Oh, I see. And then there's the star again.
Yes.
Okay.
So this one, this portal is in and out. So that would make sense that this would be Orion. So that wall would be the gateway to Orion.
Oh my God.
Since you have the power, you can go see if you can feel it.
Yes, let's go. Come on down.
Stargates. Stargate rooms. Epic ones. Here's some more of this temple. We found the helicopter. You know how in ancient Egypt they talk about that there's a helicopter. That's a funny story. And these like, if I can, what happens if I do this? Oh, nice. I didn't know I can do that. Okay. So you see the spaceship? You see the helicopter on kind of towards the top left. You see like the bee or the bug, and then to the right of it on the very top layer, you see the helicopter. And then you see like a spaceship and like a submarine. This is in this temple. And our friend Justina, we kept finding each other, and it was really funny. She finds us, and she comes running up to us. She's like, "You guys, I found the helicopter. I found the helicopter." And we're like, I was like, "Go, let's go." And we're like running to the helicopter, and she shows us, and it was like crazy. It was crazy. Yeah. It was amazing. So, going back here, so I can show you this video, just of the walls. It was mesmerizing to look at the walls. You could sit there for freaking hours looking at the walls. Yeah. This is where we were playing around with the light. It was the best. I mean, we were like, I was like, "Did you hold the phone still?" And she was like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Damn it." It was just like that the whole time. We were just cracking up the entire time. And we were jumping. Right after that, we watched it again, the video, and we were like jumping up and down. And I remember one of the guards like came running to see what the fuck was going on. And we were like, sorry. We were like, "Oh my God." Like, it was crazy. And here's another video of the stars in the sky. And that was the Temple of Ramesses. And then we got to the Osirion Temple. And this one was, oh my God. It was the energy here was dense. But it was dense, I think, because the guards were so intense. At the temples where the guards were so intense, that was like the hardest times that I think I had personally. But this is an ancient Atlantean temple. It's so old that they don't even know what it's for. But I know what it's for. I'm just kidding. I learned from Matias what this temple is. And this is one of those temples where you don't see any hieroglyphics. There is a tunnel that was built later on and connected to it, and that's how they discovered it. And that has hieroglyphics and has like the Book of the Dead on the walls. But this specific Osirian temple, you can tell it's very different than other temples. The stones are different. There's just something about it that is very, very unique. And it is also one of the temples that shows what I was talking about with the water, where you have channels of water and you have these rooms on the sides. And this is the temple. When we're in the moon goddess training, we get to this temple and we are in the throat chakra and we're activating through the sound frequency. And a lot of the things that we learned too in this trip as well was basically, or what they taught was like basically that everything is like activated by sound and vibration frequency. And that's why it was like the information was held in the water, not in the, well, in the walls as well, but mostly in the water. And this is one of those temples that really demonstrates that. But this is the temple where the masters were born. And these rooms are birthing rooms. Just crazy. And this is where this is the one place, the first place where they found the flower of life etched on the walls. This is the tunnel I was talking about that was built, added to it. Right? Actually, it's the Book of the Dead on the walls. You know, the other thing that I really loved was all the birds. There was birds everywhere. It was amazing. Look at that. There's Leyland. Oh. I loved everybody, you guys. Pogo sticks. Little horsies to ride on there. Just kidding. You guys like the videos? I figured you would like. I knew I had to take a ton of videos. Yeah, we're going to go together, Ashley. Don't worry. It's going to happen. There's Paulina. This is the flower of life. Dude, right? God, it's so crazy. Wow. Flower of life. Osirian Temple. Where the masters were birthed. More pictures. Yeah. And then I was like, take a picture of me. I asked somebody to take a picture of me. I'm like, I'm going in. I'm going in. 10-4. I was like, I have to walk down these steps. You don't understand. I have to walk down these steps and I have to film it. And you have to take a picture of me in here. I was like, I am going to submerge myself in the water. It's like, and I would have gotten all the way in if it was clean. Yeah. This This is where I went through all of the rooms on the one side, like the magic school bus.
It's all quartz, right? Girls, these walls.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that was the Osirion Temple. And then we went to the Valley of the Kings. And I'm just going to play. I'm going to talk while we watch this video. It's a long one. It's like 10 minutes long. So I'll just play. I'll just talk. But I'm going into. So we get to the valley. And it's literally looks like this sort of like Grand Canyon looking thing. And. And it was kind of intense. This one was a little intense for me. Because it was heavy. There was a heaviness to here. And then look at the wall, dude. You walked into this tomb and you saw these pictures of these like guys holding knives.
Watch out, this motherfucker's protected.
Okay, and I remember walking in there like, guys, I kept thinking like, I don't think we're supposed to be in here. There's like guys with knives. We're gonna get in trouble. And that's how I felt in this place. The Valley of the Kings is where basically it's the tombs. These were actual tombs. This wasn't one of the private tours. This was just us going in there one at a time. Like you could pick 3, like choose 3 tombs to go in. And then they even were like, don't touch the walls. And I was like, guys, are we supposed to be in here? It was very, very intense. I didn't like the energy of this place. It felt like, this feels something is... Marisela. It was like, I saw the knives, I was like, wicked! But this one, the reason why I put this one up is because of the images on the walls were just to die for, literally. Blew my mind. And look at the frickin'... This was the temple or this was not the temple, this was the tomb where they said that you will see the soul of all souls. And that's it. It's that bird right there. The soul of all souls.
Said it was the soul of all souls. Wow.
And then to the left, I saw this image and I was like, dude, so much color. And I'm like, okay, let's keep going down, down, down. It's like just keep going further and further down, deeper and deeper underground. Are you guys enjoying this? I know it's super long, but I was like, I got to do this. Everyone's been asking. I love those snakes, man. You know me and them snakes. Okay. This is where I was like stunned because of that sarcophagus.
Ooh. Ooh. Thank you.
That sarcophagus was no joke, dude. It like stunned me. I was like, what the? And I walk around it. Look at that. One solid piece of stone. It boggles the mind. Right, Jeanette? She says the year of the wood snake has been activated. Can you imagine if that guy's phone falls inside? Oops. Goodbye. Yep. So I'll pause this video, but that was the Valley of the Kings. Here's another video of kind of what it looks like on the outside. You're just walking around this valley, and then you look over and you see staircases going down, and these are the tombs. Definitely felt intense. This one was not, I would say, not the most fun energetically for me. I was like, we're like in a cemetery. The other ones, the other temples were like more activating because those were like, Stargate, spiritual, ritualistic places. They weren't tombs. But these were tombs, and I felt the heaviness of it. So it was definitely a different vibe. All right. Oh, the Temple of Esna surprised me. I was like, what? It was this very simple, it was not simple, but it was a small building. It looked kind of like I got kind of like a church vibe. And they were restoring it, which is really cool. But when you went in there, it was like shocking to the system. Look at these columns. Look at the ceiling. It's incredible. Incredible. It's like breathtaking. There was something that we saw in the ceilings in this temple that blew my freaking mind. Look at that. Damn. I was like, where did this come from? Okay. Let's watch this video. Did you see that little white thing at the top? It comes over from the right side of the column and it flows in around it and then to the left towards the top of it. I'm going to play it again. Watch that little white thing. Yeah, right? The DNA strand. What is that? I'm going to zoom in. Hang on. Play it again. You see it? What the hell is that? I noticed that when I filmed the video, when I was watching it again. What the hell was that? Anyways, look at the right side. Okay. I'm going to show you something crazy. This is the ceiling, okay? I want you to, from the left to the right, look at the moons, because those are moons, okay? There's 2 rows of moons, and I can't point because the mouse, you can't see the mouse here, but there's 2 layers, one in the middle and one on the bottom. And the moons are the moon phases. Not even kidding. Let me see if I can make it even bigger. Okay. So from the left moon, if you watch to the right, you see it's crescent and then it's growing, growing, growing. And eventually it's a full moon. And the full moon is literally the eye. Isn't that insane? It's on the ceiling. The phases of the moon. It's incredible. Look at that. It's just like, what is happening right now? Hey, this looks like the Nazca lines, doesn't it? The squiggly thing right here. Yeah, the full moon sees us. Oh, I like that. Oh, here we go. The phases of the moon again. Yeah, just look, he's like wearing a mask. He's holding up the eye. His Thoth. That's Thoth right there, y'all. Anyways. Anyways. You just can't make this shit up. This stuff is insane. One of the things that happened when we were getting off the boat that day is my hat flew off my head. And so it fell into the water. And I literally thought I was going to lose the hat. And I told one of the crew, and I was like, my hat. And they're like, oh, we'll get it. It's okay. It's not going to go too far right here. And I was like, oh my God. Hey, Coon, welcome. And so when we got back to the boat, the hat was there. And Dawn filmed this video. I didn't know she was filming until she asked me a question.
Tell me.
What?
I got my hat.
It's nihilified.
I went in the river.
I was so happy to get the hat back. And I was like, hey, it just took a dip in the Nile. And now I'm going to put that on my head. I was like, I'll absorb the frequencies through my crown chakra. It was amazing. And then we went to the Temple of Horus, which was also really, really, really cool. The Temple of Horus is obviously, Horus is the god of the sun. Horus is the son of Isis and Osiris, who has to defeat his uncle Set. And in the battle between his uncle Set, he loses an eye. And that's why they call it the left eye of Horus. And the left eye is the feminine eye. So it's about connecting to the sacred, divine, feminine. Temple of Horus, god of the sun. Okay, this is really funny, but the picture on the right, it's exactly what you think it is. And this was a theme that was intertwined throughout the entire experience, because in the story of Isis and Osiris, Osiris's brother Set is really jealous of his brother. And so he decides to split him into 14 pieces. And in that story, Isis and her sister Nephthys have to find the pieces and put it back together. But the last piece that they cannot find is the phallic. So there's phallic symbols literally everywhere. Even the columns look like, you know what. It was quite comical, especially Robert, because he was like obsessed with this. But anyways, yes. The missing 14th piece. The missing 1/14th. Here is the falcon, god of the sun. These statues were really cool. And this is another thing that I kept seeing in the temples that was so amazing, was staircases. Hallways that led to like up and down the buildings, and it was like, it felt like you were traveling through dimensions, traveling through the portals. More portals, rooms within rooms, doors, giant door frames. And then we got to the end of the Temple of Horus, and this was his shrine. It's crazy that towards the end of that you hear a child laughing. That's crazy. And I really felt this temple was really, really, really powerful. And they all had their own unique energy. And then we made it to the Temple of Isis. And this is where Dawn and I went psycho on the photo shoot. These pictures came out great. This temple, oh my God. It was crazy. It was like a light show. We kept seeing the cosmic egg. It kept coming out in every picture. And one of the pictures I'll show you, it was a clock. I showed it to Robert and he said it was a clock. Temple of Isis, man. You have to take a boat to get there. Oh yeah, I did. That other one did feel like a fortress. They're calling you, Esna? I know. The picture on the right is the clock. I'll show you in more detail what I mean. So I'm looking towards the wall, and the two columns, literally, I realized that at the end, this was the High Priestess card. So we have the sun shining down and the egg right here. And the egg is not part of the picture. Like, no, how an egg appeared, I don't know. The rays of the rainbow are like, I mean, the rays of the sun are like a rainbow. It's a rainbow. And these fish that are swimming up here on the right are literally, I mean, the fish. Did you just hear what I said? The birds that were flying. The birds that were flying looked like fish that were swimming. Okay, you can I don't even know, okay? Then the egg. Then I am gazing right at Hathor. And what you can literally see to the left side of me is a pink egg, another pink egg. You keep going down, look, another egg. And then this is where it got crazy, okay? The fish. Okay. You can't make this shit up, you guys. Do you see the fish? And then do you see my dress? It looks like water and it looks like fish in the, what's like the ocean. My dress looks like the ocean. And then there's another light here that's kind of like a curved light. And that's what Robert was saying was Libra. He saw all the constellations. He saw the clock in this picture. It blew my mind. And then I realized that's the high priestess. That's freaking Isis right there. I channeled through the picture, not even looking at the camera, the high priestess card. Crazy. And it just kept happening the whole time. Look how cute these pictures are. You guys, I'm making a tarot deck or an oracle deck, and yeah, I got plenty of footage to make some epic cards. This is my favorite. On the right, I look like a gaucha. More epic shots. Yeah, the light show was like everywhere. Temple of Isis. Just magic, you guys. I know. Like, you could not get a bad shot. Just point your camera and it would be like magic. And then after that, we went to Elephantine Island, which is where they say that the Ark of the Covenant, or was it the Ark of the Covenant? Yeah, that's where it was. And this was cool. This was like these ancient ruins. Oh, and then on the way back, this is when I got to pull the drum out for the first time. Dude, I felt the power of the Nile. Like, I was getting high. And while we were freaking on the boat, 2 times the water splashed me in the face. Okay. And I'm sitting in the middle of the boat where the water can't reach me. But somehow that water splashed right in my face. And the crazy thing about it is that when I used to go to peyote meetings, you would dip the feathers in the water and then like spray it like that on people. It was like the water blessing, like kind of like a freaking priest, like a priest does it. Like, and I knew that was like spirit talking to me. That was the Nile, the water in the Nile talking to me and telling me, I bless you. You know, you have my blessing to like sing these songs and share your spirit here on this land. Like literally, you guys have no idea how many times I brought in the water for ceremonies and prayed over the water. And now I was on the Nile singing the peyote songs, and the Nile like spoke to me in that moment twice. The water came from like the side of the ship and it would in my face. So I was like, wow. It was activated, turned on for sure. And then we got to the Temple of Kom Ombo, which is dealing with the shadows, transmuting the shadows, the darkness to the light. This is the temple where you go through each of the rooms. In the Moon Goddess training, we go through each room one by one, healing the darkness of each chakra from the root to the crown. And when you get to the very end of the temple is the merging of all of the dualities. And you see that powerful image of Isis and the 4 fixed stars and the 4 fixed signs, the cardinal directions. And so at this temple, me and Dawn and Justina, I opened up the records right before we went in, and we went room by room, and I was guiding them to clear each of the chakras. We did that at this temple intentionally because I knew that that's what it was for. So it was phenomenal to get to do it. And then here's the doorways that just kept coming in every direction. And then look, I took a picture of this eagle and the star. And my friend Kayana, who has known me since the ceremony days, she knows that I was adopted, my adopted name, the name that I was given, Lakota, was Wichakpi Wambli Washtewin, which means Eagle Star Woman. And she was like, look, it's an eagle star. And yes, I know, we did it, Ashley. And it was like, yeah, the temples kept talking and communicating with me everywhere we went. Eagle Star Woman has landed. And this is a theme that carries all the way to the temple. So to the pyramid. So hang in there because the story continues. More Temple of Kom Ombo, and Temple of Kom Ombo is the crocodile god, and there he is in all his glory. You know, there's a story about the Temple of Kom Ombo that the initiates, when they would go through the journey, the initiatic path along the Nile, they would have to, at the very end, swim with the crocodile. Cross the water and not without fear so that the crocodile wouldn't eat them. Oh, so much fun. You get to this part where you see the rock representing the heart. Look at the light show. I'm connecting with it, and look at the light. It's shining on me. Oh my God. This on the right was a calendar. It's a calendar on the wall. It's amazing. And then on the left is Robert giving us a little talk. Temple of Kom Ombo. And the grand finale. Dude. Oh my God. There it is. I was like dying to get to this part. I knew it was there, but we went room by room, chakra by chakra, because when I got to this point, I wanted to be ready because I knew I was going to see it. And I was like waiting for years to take my own picture of this. Dude, it was glorious to see it in person. There's Isis. You see the lion, the eagle, the bull, and the man is on the bottom right, but he fell off. And then the box in the center is where we are supposed to find ourselves once we move through the transmuting darkness to light. Because this is the temple of the darkness. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 mouths, 2 everything. Because that represents the duality. But we are in the center. We have learned to find the center. And that's what that teaches.
The constellation. So the ears also finding a connection between people here and people in other dimensions. Okay? So you have to understand that there's always someone listening. Until God for the entrance to enter the temple, we will see the temple dividing.
Mm-hmm. These are a couple of pictures that other participants took of the light show. Everywhere we went was a light show. It's incredible. I know I have my own pictures now. Like, excuse me? A part of the teaching and the lesson that's currently going on the planet is all about the Rainbow Bridge. I mean... And then we had a day where we sailed and sailed and sailed for like 8 hours. And I finally was able to I literally led an Akashic healing chamber. Let's see if we can watch a little bit of it. Yeah, so I don't know why I can't remember what this one on the right is, but God, to get to sing the medicine songs like that, you guys, was remarkable. And at the end of this Akashic healing chamber that we did, I remember I had my eyes closed for most of the time. Like, I opened up the records, and then we did a chakra balancing meditation. And then there was Shavasana, and that's when then there was the drumming, then Shavasana, and I sang I Forgive, and then I sang I Prayed for This at the end, and then everybody came back up, and then we finished. And when we finished, I opened my eyes, and the boat had entered into, like, I don't know, it was getting gas or something. They called it the gas station. But we came in, and I wonder if somebody has a picture of this, but we came in, and I looked to either side of us, and there was like concrete walls on either side of the ship, and the ship had windows everywhere. So it was like we literally sailed into the king's chamber. Because when I looked at those concrete walls on the sides, I swear to God, I was like, did we just fucking enter the king's chamber? I think we did. That's what I believe anyways. It's what I freaking felt from that experience. So it was phenomenal to be able to do that. Oh, Jeanette said I was born for this. I love that. But yeah, just pure freaking power and magic. And then we landed in the temple of Karnak. And this is a big temple. This is the biggest one. It's huge. And I remember telling Dawn, I was like, stay close together. You can get lost here. The funny thing is, like, I've never been physically to the temple, but I knew it was huge. And I was like, if you wander off, you're going to get lost. We won't find each other until the end of the trip, right? But it was amazing. The columns of this temple freaking blew my mind. The immensity of this temple blew my freaking mind. Like, I could not even believe what I was seeing. Couldn't believe what I was seeing with my eyes. And I also knew that at this temple, there was a special lady waiting for us. Because the temple of Karnak is Sekhmet. Look at these doors. And I knew, and I was looking for Sekhmet the entire time. And yeah, the giants. Yeah, it felt like we were like experiencing the world of giants. More light show. This is cool. Look at the scarab. And then I put my hands on it and I was meditating with it. And that was pretty powerful. There was lots of places like that at this temple. All right, here we go. Sekhmet. When I walked up to this, where she was, I had no idea what to expect. I was just like, yeah, we're going to see Sekhmet. I'm so excited. And the experience that I had here was insane. But I'll show you how it felt walking in. You could hear it in my voice. She freaked me out, but in a beautiful way. And then I walked up to her, and my friend took the phone and took pictures of me. And while I stood there, I froze. And the feeling that I had was the feeling that you get when you get abducted. And as I was looking at her, I was tuning into her third eye. I was like staring straight at her eyes. And she was like channeling information into me. And it felt like either she took me somewhere or she downloaded something into my brain. It's literally what it felt like. You see how I'm like a statue? Like I froze. And the entire time she was like bzz, like buzzing into my third eye. It was insane. Now when I look at it, it really does look like I became a statue. I'm so glad she took this video. Yeah, that was insane. It's like she gave me information that I felt I was going to need later on. But that was crazy. coming out. There's like this beautiful tree and then more staircases that lead to like doors. Amazing. But this tree was there. And it just lives there next to her. So we connected with the tree. The rams. To also represent the sun. The Temple of Karnak in the ancient Atlantean path is where we learn, in the Moon Goddess training, we learn about the 12 systems of the body and how understanding all systems of the body and also their connection to astrology is the key to understanding our path and our mission, our unique mission on Earth. And it's all based off of our astrology. And then we got to visit the Temple of Luxor. It was really cool. I didn't know we were going to come to the Temple of Luxor, but it was definitely a really fun and kind of another kind of playful energy I felt anyways. And it was really fun too. Like, look at that. There's the three of us. Dawn walking through the keyhole, the keyhole portal. Everything was meant to be, you know? Everything was meant to be. The way that it happened. I love this picture of me and Dawn. And then me and Sharon, I met her there. She was one of the DJs. She was really sweet. I did a reading for her and I did a reading for Jade too. They were super sweet. Those girls are like sisters, but they're not. They're just best friends, but they're like sisters. They felt like sisters to me. Just like me and Dawn. Okay. I know we kind of just jumped over to here. So after Luxor, we got on a plane and we made our way back to Cairo. And this experience of the Great Pyramid was insane. I honestly am still receiving the downloads because my experience of going to this pyramid was just crazy. We arrived in Cairo and the buses were late picking us up. I started my moon. Okay, you see on the top, what's above the pyramid is the friggin' full moon. Okay, we get to the Pyramid of Giza on the full moon in Leo, Giza Plateau. I'm on my freaking moon, and you guys that know me, you know my moon is no fun. It's painful. Sorry if it's TMI, but it's just freaking gnarly. Really intense for me. It takes all my energy. It drains me. It literally. So I was so vulnerable energetically that I didn't want to miss this. But we get to the hotel. It's like really chaotic. They're trying to get us into our rooms. Everyone's like rushing because we had like 5 minutes to get ready. At least group number 1. There was 3 different groups that were going to go into the pyramid throughout the evening from like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. until like 1 a.m. And it was like 2 hours per group. And I was like, oh, it was like so chaos. And because I was so open from my moon and from the experiences that I've had, I literally got like run over by the bus of Selena. I'm just kidding. Inside joke. And by the time we got to the pyramid, it felt like we stumbled into the pyramid all frazzled and ungrounded. Like we didn't even hear the instructions of what we were supposed to do or anything like that. But I will tell you one thing, that whatever happened was exactly what was supposed to happen. So I get there, I get off the bus, the guards are kind of rushing us to the door. And I walk in first. I was the first one that walked in. And this like energy took over me. And I literally started to fly up. Man, I wish I had a a picture of it. But I'll just tell the story like this. So I walk in and I see this little like hallway, and we were supposed to wait by the first chamber, the subterranean chamber, and I hadn't heard the instructions, so I was just going. I didn't even know it was there. Keep going up past the Queen's chamber, which we're supposed to go there too. Just went straight up, beelined it to the King's chamber, and I was the first one that walked in. And I walked right to the sarcophagus. And I put my foot up to get inside of it, and the guard freaked out. We were told that we were going to get to go inside of it. So I was like, oh, it's allowed. And I literally thought everybody was coming right behind us to join us in the group. But they weren't, because they had gone to the subterranean chamber. And then they went to the King's chamber. And then finally, the Queen's chamber. And then finally they came to the King's chamber. So what ended up happening, no food. Right. We didn't even get to eat either. We were like, everybody was fasting that day, the couple of days before. But so we're in the King's chamber, and I'm sitting there and I'm like looking around, and I'm like connecting to the energy of like the wall. I find the diamond, and this guard wasn't letting us do anything. He's like, don't even lean up against the wall. Can't lay down. You have to sit up. It was terrible. It was terrible. And this whole time we're waiting for Robert to come, and I'm going, why aren't they here yet? Why aren't they coming? I'm thinking like, what is it that, why is it not happening? What? And I had no instruction, and I wanted instruction, but it was the first time, like I thought we were going to do an activation, like sit down and sing and chant or whatever, but that never happened. So we had to basically just start like kind of connecting on our own. We were like, it felt like we were on our own. And that first group, especially, I personally felt like I went through a crazy ego death going inside the pyramid, because for the first time I had an expectation of what I wanted the experience to be like. And because it didn't happen that way, and all of the other factors that were affecting me energetically, and like I was so open and vulnerable, that it like ran over the top of me, and I experienced the ego death of like, I wanted it to be a certain way, and then it wasn't. Anyways, that doesn't mean I didn't get to connect, because I actually walked in, I found the diamond on the wall, and I stared at the diamond for a while. I connected with it, like still waiting for Robert, but I was connecting and like tuning into the diamond. I sat in front of it for a while, and then finally felt like okay enough, because that guard kept like pushing the energy down. I finally felt free enough to go sit in the center. It was hard to feel connected because there was so much resistance in the energy. But I finally went to the center, and I sat in a circle with these 4 other women. So there was 5 of us, and I felt we were making the 5-pointed star of Venus. And in the center is where the actual sarcophagus is supposed to be. It's not there because, according to Robert, it has been moved because they don't want it to be where it's supposed to be. But anyways, we sat in the middle where the sarcophagus is supposed to be. And then I started to feel the energy. And I was singing that whole time. And there was another lady there. Her name was Maria. And she was very vocal and very like open about the voice, the toning and everything. And she was actually, I really appreciated her presence there, because she was pushing through that resistance of that energy of the guard, and allowing and creating space for me to feel comfortable to do that. Because in reality, I'm very shy when it comes to like singing. Like I can't, I have to feel my way into the resonance and the magic. But when we were sitting there in the center, that's when Robert came in, finally, and he went straight to the sarcophagus. He did the same thing I did, lifted his foot up to get into it, and the guard freaked out at him and started yelling at him. And he ran back to the guard and was telling him, go see your boss. And then it was like chaos. And at that moment, I'm sitting in the center, and Maria's like, sing louder. It was nuts. then Robert has to go down and get the guy's boss and then bring the guy up. And the guy was so tired and I wasted all this time. And then finally we start like going into the sarcophagus one at a time. And it was like lightning speed. Everything was rushed. You get 2 seconds in the sarcophagus, then you got to get out. But right before that happened, I was sitting in the middle and I was chanting with the other ladies. And that's when Eagle Star Woman came through, because I looked up at the ceiling and I felt the call to sing a specific song. And it was a peyote song. And it was a song that I always felt scared to sing in a ceremony because it was that freaking powerful. And I was sitting there and I was like, I wonder what'll happen if I sing it here. And nobody knew what was going on inside of me because it was like my experience. It was an internal thing, you know? But I was like, I wonder what would happen if I sing this song. And then I just started to sing it. And remember I showed you that picture in the Kom Ombo temple of like the Eagle Star. Let's see if I can find it again. And how I got to sing the peyote songs and I'm making these connections right now, you guys, because I kid you not, like I didn't plan what I was going to say. I just made the slideshow. So this one, okay, remember I saw the Eagle Star and then I got to sing the peyote songs on the boat back from Elephantine Island. And it was the first time like I felt the river literally splashed in my face and literally told me and gave me the blessing to be able to sing the songs and communicated with me in that moment. And so when I finally got there and I sat down and I sang that song, that's when I finally felt the fucking resonance of the king's chamber. And it was so freaking cool. It was insane. Like I'm feeling chills all over my body, just like remembering that moment. And then right after that, I got up and I went into the sarcophagus. Robert took my hand, put me in there. I laid down and I looked up at the sky and there was flowers of life all over the ceiling. I saw them. He pointed them out, but I saw them. And then it was like, he was tuning into the sarcophagus and it was like, okay, time to come out. It's like, okay, come on out. And then I wanted to stay. I was like, I didn't want to leave. And he had asked a few people to stay, but he didn't ask me. And I'm not rude like that. Like, I'm not just going to be like, F you, I'm just going to stay. You know, I don't push my way around like that because I know it's not in my alignment. I have to wait for the invitation. So I did not get that invitation. And so it was like, he started to say, if you were done with the sarcophagus, start making your way down, because they started to pressure him about the time. We were running out of time for group number 1. And so that was the ego death for me, where everything felt like I wanted to have a certain experience and it didn't go the way I wanted. But now when I look back, I had a powerful experience. It was just convoluted with this energy that wasn't really mine. But I felt like we were the warriors, that group 1 that went into the freaking pyramid to defeat the demons because there were some freaking demons. Okay. And we took all that energy and absorbed it and then took it with us back out of the space, because right after group number 1 left, he said he positioned the 6 people for forming the Orion constellation inside the king's chamber. And he said, I command the stargate to open. And he said that the power went out in the pyramid. And for 20 minutes, the power was trying to come back on. Okay, this happened, like all that powerful shit started happening right after we left. And that second group got like an experience of being in the chamber and watching the walls and getting a talk about the walls and stuff. And then in the third group, they did a Merkaba with the group, a Merkaba activation, and literally for the first time in 13,000 years. So the overall experience of that was out of this world. And literally, this is what Robert said. Okay. Like I'm not the one that's saying that this is what happened. Robert is the one that's saying that this is what happened. Let me find what he said. We succeeded in opening the Stargate inside the king's chamber and also brought into the new earth paradigm, performed by 6 people, mirroring the positions of Orion's star positions with 3-to-3 male-female ratio. Further, we activated the Merkaba within the king's chamber with 48 members of the 144 for the first time in 13,000 years. And finally, we activated the 4th pyramid from near its original apex in a large group activation of 100 plus. Many thanks to all those who participated in the group activations. Rest assured that everything was as it was supposed to be, and no detail was left missed. So, Khufu. Man, I shall return. Fucking amazing. Remember my soul contract that said the pyramid is the contract? You will know when you get there. You will be the lighthouse. In my soul contract journey that I had before I even went to Egypt, where I wanted to ask what was my soul contract with Robert, I was shown what we were going to be doing in the pyramid. You can't make this shit up, you guys. I wish I could. But I was in a real life Indiana Jones experience. And I feel different. And I feel charged up. And I feel like I literally took a quantum leap into a new reality. I feel like we are in the new world now. Like really, really feel it. I feel different. I think differently. My energy is different. It's out of this world. The next day, we got to go and see the Giza Plateau in the daytime. And that was really fun too. And it was really beautiful. And that entire day, I felt the longing. I missed it. I miss it. And I see the Great Pyramid and I'm like, oh my God, I miss you. That's the feeling I get. I'm like, oh, I just want to cry. You know, I just want to hold it. I just want to hug it like an old friend. It's insane. It's insane. We got to visit the site where Robert believes there is a missing a pyramid that has not been uncovered yet. And then the cherry on top. The full moon in Leo. And getting to see the frickin' Sphinx on the full moon in Leo.
Ask you for the ticket?
No, I didn't go yet.
This way.
I didn't know which way it was going to go.
بص هم دول معايا والمندوب معاه التذاكر. Okay, just go on.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, I love this. Is going to be my highlight. I love this video. Which one will go?
No, she wants to get rid of it.
the fucking cherry on top. That was the highlight, to get to go see the freaking Sphinx. Look at that little baby puppy. But it was just, it was amazing. There's no words to describe the energy. And I literally feel like I will return many times. It felt like so familiar. Everything, every single thing, the temples, like everything just felt so familiar. And then check this out. This is what Robert sent to me when I was messaging with him. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the day that we went into the pyramid, the Schumann resonance went fucking psycho. And you can see on the left image is the moment that we entered the pyramid, and then and the moment we exited. And then on the right it says when we entered the pyramid, when the Stargate dedication happened, like when the power went out, when they did the prayer activation, and when they did the Merkaba activation, and then when everyone exited, and then look what happened after. So, for those of you that want the proof, no, I'm just kidding. You can't make this shit up. And then there was more cherries on top. I'm on the plane, okay, on my way home, and I finally connect to the Wi-Fi. And this is when I'm going back and forth with Robert, and I sent him my experience, and I told him I felt like I went through an ego death, and that group number 1 was meant to clear the energy for the other groups to be able to fully get the activation going. And I felt like I was chosen for that part because I'm a warrior and I can handle it, but it was freaking gnarly. And I went through a gnarly ego death because I was expecting something that didn't happen. And it was the first time that I got caught off guard because I was like on my moon and I was tired, and it's just like one thing snowballed into the other, but it was all exactly as it was supposed to be. And I'm sitting on the plane and I'm texting with him on WhatsApp, and we're like going back and forth. And he said one thing that I will never forget, that I feel was the most beautiful thing. Well, there was a couple of things that he said to me. He really helped me to process that experience. And he helped me to really, really laugh at it. And he said, none of it is real. Just sit back and enjoy the journey. It hurts a lot less. He also said the universe is telling us to chill all the time. The life lesson is let go of all expectations of what life should be. And then I open the freaking window, and this is what I see. The full moon right outside the window. And Robert noticed this, that there's 3 little lights that exactly align with Orion's belt. And I sent him this video and we laughed our heads off. Like it could not have been more divinely orchestrated. I told him it was like a symphony. A symphony. It was like a whole, yeah, exactly. It was a whole play. Beyond amazing. Like, I don't care what anybody says. I am beyond grateful to Robert for opening up the door for me to have this experience. I am beyond grateful for him inviting me and for me waiting for all this time to finally feel in alignment with my purpose and my mission and my life's work and to wait and patiently, patiently be the projector that waits for the invitation. And this is what can happen when you live in your design. It will all fall perfectly into place like a puzzle. And it's just phenomenal. And I know that from this moment on, life is different for me. Everything has changed at a deep, energetic level. And it's amazing. And I'm still flying high from that entire experience. Just no words. No words. And I also want to thank you guys, my community, for especially those of you that have like hung out and stuck around for so many years, because you love it and you love what we create here together. And I know that this is just the beginning of the magic that's going to continue to unfold as we keep moving forward together. That's what we're doing. We're entering into the new world. We are in it, fully in it. No going back. We need each other to remind each other to step into the light and be our unique selves. Live in our unique design. And that's my story. So I want to thank you guys all for watching this video. I know it was super long, but everyone was asking, and I wanted to do it like this. So I appreciate you all very, very much. Please share this video out. Let the world know this magic happened. Hopefully this video will go out there and be well received by the universe and the collective, and we can see the magic that happened by the 144 Alpha Omega Expedition with Robert Grant. So grateful. Thank you all. Have an amazing rest of your week, a good weekend, and yes, Sat Nam. And I will see you guys in the Moon Goddess training next Thursday when we activate the initiatic path with our Nile River initiation. Sat Nam, and I will see you guys all very soon.